Mercedes have confirmed that Lewis Hamilton will continue his Formula One career with the team in 2022 after several weeks of intense speculation over his future. Not long after he lost out on the 2021 title in controversial circumstances, rumours began to circulate that he was considering quitting the sport. Mercedes chief Toto Wolff poured fuel on the fire by admitting Hamilton was disillusioned with F1 due to the way he had been denied a record 8th world crown. Racer himself did not shut any retirement talk down, as he maintained a long period of radio silence on his social media channels and did not take part in any media interviews. It was when he did return to social media that it began to look as though he might be up for at least one more season in F1 after all. Both he and Mercedes posted defiant-sounding messages on their channels, with strong hints that he wants one more crack at the outright record for most world titles. Now, finally, Hamilton's place on the grid for the upcoming season has been confirmed, as Mercedes named him as one of their drivers for the season. In a news release previewing their car launch event due to take place on February the 18th, the Silver Arrows specifically referred to Hamilton and new face George Russell as our 2022 drivers. Our new car will be unveiled in a digital launch presentation that will be broadcast live across our social media channels. The live stream will be hosted on our official YouTube, Facebook and Twitter accounts, as well as the Mercedes AMG channels, other partner channels and select broadcast channels. You'll also have the chance to hear from our 2022 drivers, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, and our team principal and CEO, Toto Wolff. Technical Director Mike Elliott and Managing Director of Mercedes AMG High Performance Powertrains, Howell Thomas, will also feature, talking in more detail about the technical changes for this season. And our 2022 junior program lineup will also be part of the show as well. Following the launch, Mercedes will take the W13 out onto the Silverstone track later that day for its first run. Mercedes hope that this will be the car that takes them to a 9th Constructors' Championship in succession. It sets up another mouth-watering aspect of the coming season, as Max Verstappen finally knows for sure that he will have to defend his driver's title against the man from whom he took the glory in 2021. The news also means that the full grid is finally set for the season, with other teams able to breathe a sigh of relief now they know Mercedes will not come calling for one of their racers to replace Hamilton. After playing his part at the launch for the Mercedes W13 next Friday, Hamilton's return to F1 action will be at a pre-season testing in Barcelona, which begins on February the 23rd. Following that, there will be another short testing period in Bahrain ahead of the first Grand Prix of the season, set to begin in Sakhir on March the 20th. George Russell, who enjoyed a breakthrough first season with Williams last term, gave an ominous assessment when asked about his first impressions of the new W13 vehicle. First impressions of W13 have been interesting, Russell said on the Mercedes YouTube channel. It's a very different car to the previous era, and the characteristics of how the downforce is completely different. So we're still learning as we are going. There's still a huge amount of improvement to be made to bring everything together and make it as nice as possible to drive. Despite his concerns, Russell was quick to suggest that Mercedes are likely not the only team struggling with the new technical specifications. I foresee a lot of people being in the same boat, he continued. We're just learning so much day after day, whether it be in the winter or in the simulator, and I think it's going to be a year of development. Daniel Ricciardo probably had the best view of anyone in the world of Max Verstappen's title-winning pass and the defensive moves which followed on Lewis Hamilton at last year's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Ricciardo was sat in the next car back. Controversially, in fact, Ricciardo's very presence there is a reminder of the questions that still linger from that race. Unlike the lapped cars, which had been between Hamilton and Verstappen behind the safety car in the final laps, Ricciardo and every other lap car behind him were not allowed to overtake the leaders and drive back around to join the pack before the race restarted. Massey's decision to apply the rules in this fashion did not follow the FIA's regulations regarding a safety car restart. That call allowed Verstappen on brand new tyres to attack Hamilton on old tyres in a one-lap sprint to the finish with no lapped cars in the way. Verstappen overtook the 7-time world champion on the inside of turn 3, then defended 2 Hamilton counterattacks in the corners which followed, fighting off leg cramp as he did so in one of the most dramatic finishes to an F1 season ever. Ricciardo, watching from the cockpit of the next car in line, said he felt like a fan again as it just unfolded in front of him. When told at McLaren's 2022 car launch he had a pretty good view of what went down, Ricciardo laughed and told ESPN, "Yeah, it was a privilege. It was. It's funny. There was not only one lap to go. I wasn't in the race. It wasn't a great Sunday for me. I was really a spectator on that last lap. Even going into turn 2 and 3, I could see Max was kind of close. I was like, is Lewis going to defend? What's going on? I'm pretty sure I saw his light flash like he was clipping. I was like, why is he clipping on the last lap? I thought he'd have all the battery to use." That's when Max went to pass. I was like, how is this happening? I was watching as a fan in 2008 at the Brazilian Grand Prix, the last lap drama with Massa and Hamilton. It was a lot to process. Ricciardo's post-race messages were broadcast in the aftermath of the finish and gained a lot of traction in the weeks which followed. After finishing, Ricciardo radioed McLaren to say, "I've got no idea what they did with letting cars through. Obviously, I wasn't really in that anyway, but it seems strange." He added, "I'm glad I'm not part of that. Whatever just happened. It seemed pretty effed up." Speaking about that message 2 months on, Ricciardo said he felt for Hamilton, given how he lost the title. "I was like, man, how would you feel if you're Hamilton right now? You're leading, then safety car, and then this. Whoa, it's a lot to take in." After the race, my radio was broadcast, and I said I'm glad I wasn't a part of that. It was too much to handle. So for that reason, I was probably glad I wasn't part of what was going on in Hamilton's head at that moment. Speaking at the launch of McLaren's 2022 car, Ricciardo said his fellow Australian Massey needs some support in the race director role in order for F1 to avoid a repeat of the finish in Abu Dhabi. Massey's future in the job is currently in question after he botched the finish of the title decider between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton last year. The race was settled by a one-lap sprint which saw Verstappen pass Hamilton to win the title when the rules were incorrectly applied. An FIA investigation into how Massey's decision-making affected the outcome is still ongoing. On Thursday, 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel defended Massey and said he should not lose his job on the basis of one mistake. Ricciardo said Massey was in a lose-lose situation in Abu Dhabi. "It's kind of a bit like a referee. You can't win," Ricciardo told ESPN ahead of McLaren's 2022 car launch. "You're always going to have someone against you. It's a little bit like that. I've never sat through race control during a race, so I don't know how much is going on, but I guess in my head, trying to understand it all, some support is probably a bit of a simple solution to try and help out." Ricciardo said he never realised how much work Massey takes on between races until bumping into his fellow Australian last year. "He was telling me his schedule, where he's been and where he's going and the amount of travelling he's doing to venues before we get there, back and forth checking this and that. His schedule is nuts. That in itself, you've got fatigue and everything else. Making big decisions is already quite tricky and complex. So probably some assistance is step one for that." Ricciardo's teammate Lando Norris said he hopes to see Massey continue into the role in 2022 and beyond. "He's been great for a lot of things," Norris told ESPN. "He got thrown in 3 years ago and of course, from my point of view, he's done a better job every season. It's probably the first time things have not gone to plan. We always expect a lot as drivers, as we always want things to be perfect, so when they're not, we're going to complain and so on. He's a nice guy. He does what he can. It would be a shame to see him go, but I'm sure he's going to stick around." On the outcome of Abu Dhabi, Norris added, "Both deserved to win. Both did an extremely good job. I think Max was a very worthy winner."